an exciting time of the year for everybody that loves NBA basketball, and for coaches and players. The start of training camp and the start of a new season. There's just something special about that feel. I'm very excited about our group, our players. And I think there's 7 guys coming back and 8 new guys. Looking forward to continuing to work and grow the guys that are returning and integrating those guys that are new, including our first-round pick John Collins and Tyler Dorsey, and all the way up to the Dwayne Dedmons and Luke Babbitts and Miles Plumlee and Marco Bellinelli, all the new guys. Just excited about integrating them into our culture, integrating them into our player development, and ultimately how we play as a team. And I think just the way we play and the way we compete every night is always been our standard and will continue to be our standard. And I kind of referenced the daily improvement that we want our players to make every day. That's how our team's going to improve from the start of the year to the end of the year. A lot of it is through player development and individual development. And I think the unselfish way with which we play, continues to be something we take a lot of pride in. And the expectations for this year will be the same. And it's great to have some guys that understand that can carry that message in the locker room, in the practices, as we head up to Athens and the University of Georgia for our camp. And obviously a great coaching staff that is invaluable to me as we start training camp and this exciting time of the year and into the NBA season. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
What will be the goal tomorrow as training camp gets underway? With there being so many new players and veteran players, what will be the goal or the goal that you'll be setting for the team tomorrow?
Yeah, I think defense is always something that we've taken a lot of pride in, and I think any team that wants to have some success and wants to be good, your priority and the first thing that you probably talk about, the first thing you work on, is establishing a defensive identity. And been a part of a lot of training camps, and tomorrow will feel a lot like that, will look a lot like that, and the goal of the guys understanding how important it is for us to be good in defense, on defense, and all the details that go with that. And then I think obviously you got to start putting in offense and hopefully some concepts and some points of emphasis, and just start building your foundation blocks, building your habits for the season.
Matt Walker, Block ATO. What are we doing to strengthen the paint without Paul Millsap and Dwight Howard?
Well, I think it's always about team defense for us. I think we have to have everybody participating, everybody working together, and I think defense and I guess maybe more specifically the paint. I think it's actually been an area of strength for us, and I think we have a lot of Dwayne Dedmon and Miles Plumlee and Irsan returning and Muskie returning, and John Collins and Luke Babbitt. Those guys, they're going to understand their roles and what they need to do, and the small guys will understand how they need to help them. And I think it's always about team for us, and protecting the paint and being good defensively in the paint is going to be about all 5 guys that are on the court.
Brandon?
Coach Brandon, thank you for taking the fan. Your thoughts on the development of Dennis? The team is different now from what it was when he first came into the league. And what are your expectations for him this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, it's been, I think great for all the fans, for everybody to watch the growth and the development of Dennis Schroder, from a rookie drafted, I guess 4 years ago to, now being our starting point guard, and the person that's been here with the Hawks and with myself the longest. And I think, the biggest expectation is for him to continue to improve, to continue to get better. We feel like he has a very, very bright future. I think there's lots of kind of X and O type, coach type stuff that, I don't think I need to bore you guys with. But I think, just overall, I think how he's improved, as a leader, as a teammate, has been something that's, put put him in a position to, be really important to our locker room and important to, how we navigate the season and push through and push forward. So, but his improvement has just been, it's been special to watch, and I know he's excited about continuing to improve.
Coach, that helped with 11 Live. Switching gears here, what kind of conversations have you had with the team in regards to the current political climate and protests, or have you had that conversation yet?
Yeah, we met for a little bit before we came over here this morning, and I think it's a conversation that the whole country's having. I'm assuming most, if not all, teams are having, and at the end of the day, I think our players are incredible human beings and thoughtful. I think we just encourage them to think deeply about what's happening in our country, to care deeply about not just what's happening, but about our country. And I think if they do those two things, if they think deeply and they care deeply, our country will be a better place, our conversation will be a better place, or in a better place. And most importantly, they have my support, they have the organization's support to express themselves or not to express themselves in any way that they feel is important. Their experiences have shaped their lives. They're really unique people, and they have a lot to offer and a lot to say in some cases, and they have our full support.
Coach, what are your expectations for John this year? I know that this is his rookie season, so there'll be a lot on his plate this season, but with Paul gone, with Dwight Howard gone, as you mentioned before, the middle, there will be a need for someone to step up. So Lane Devin, of course, is a veteran in the league, but John will have a chance to possibly become an NBA superstar. What are your expectations for that young man in his rookie year?
Well, it's a lot like our team. I think John's development and John achieving, all the things that he wants and that we want for him is going to come down to, how he comes in every day, how he works every day, how he kind of fits into a team and plays, the way we talked about earlier, his unselfishness, his competitiveness. All those things will dictate, what kind of season he has, and I think our expectation is just that he, competes at a high level, he works at a high level, and he begins to understand, how we play and how the NBA game is played.
What do you expect Marco's role being, and what do you expect from him overall?
Yeah, we were very excited about having Marco Bellinelli. He's like one of those guys that, at least me personally, I've always wanted to coach and wanted to have on a team that I was with, and he and I kind of laughed, and we finally have it happen. So, I think his role, particularly as an offensive player, I think he's unique in how he can score and how he can play pick and roll, but the way he moves off the ball, his cutting, his slashing, his IQ, I think it's unique, and we've always had a lot of success with European players and maybe a little bit of a European type style of play, and there's nobody that knows or understands that better than Marco, and so I think it's a great fit, and I'm just very excited about having him with our group.
Donald, this is DNA Sports Talk. Now wearing one hat as a coach, what is it allowing you to focus on and kind of prioritize?
Like coaching, it's I think it's something that I have a great passion for, and but I think part of coaching is always building a team and how do teams fit together, but to have just undivided attention on coaching and undivided attention on what we can be doing in practice, what we can be doing in film sessions, and our player development program and all those things, and probably freed me up to take a breath too. So it's been great. Very excited about this year going forward and where our organization is going.
Sports Coach, when you have so many new guys coming into the team here, is there steps or tricks that you have to kind of get everybody used to? I mean, almost like summer camp or something like that, where everyone's trying to get used to playing all the new guys?
I mean, I think it's interesting how much turnover there are on NBA teams, and you know, I guess some years there's more than others, but there's always a, you know, I guess a process of getting back together and integrating, you know, whether it's only 1 or 2 or 3 guys or, you know, 7 or 8. And, you know, I think a lot of it starts with their work in the summer. These guys have been working incredibly hard, you know, in open gym and, you know, volunteer type workouts, volunteer situations. And so I think they're already have taken, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 huge steps forward just by the work they put in September. And then, you know, you go to training camp and, you know, it goes to a whole nother level there, and it's pretty intense, and then through the preseason. But, you know, I think we've got a nice mix with some veteran guys that have either, you know, been with us or been on other good teams, good situations that, you know, I think we're hopeful that the guys can, you know, learn how to play together and learn, you know, what we want to do here and what's going to give us our success quickly.
Larissa Harris here with CBS Radio Atlanta. You guys aren't really in a home right now. Phillips Arena under renovation and your practice facility not ready to be open yet. Your thoughts on how the facility is going to look, what you're expecting for both Phillips Arena and the practice facility?
Yeah, we can't be more excited about everything that's happening with, you know, not just the arena, but, you know, as you mentioned, the new practice facility. And so not maybe having a home, you know, as far as a practice facility for another 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever it may be. You know, we've waited a long time for this, so I think we can wait a couple more weeks. But the new practice facility is going to be a game changer for us. Most importantly for our players. You know, I think as you guys kind of hear me just, you know, kind of beat it and talk about it, you know, the player development is so important to us, and having a first-class practice facility, you know, we feel like it's just going to enhance our player development program and give our players, you know, opportunities and ways to, you know, hopefully improve even more and more rapidly. So, and the new arena, you know, I think, you know, for the players and the fans, I think, you know, everybody's just excited to see about, you know, what it's going to look like this summer or going into this next season. And I think there's even more excitement about going into the 18th season and, you know, when both phases of the arena renovation are done. And, you know, our fans deserve the best. You know, I think just like our players, you know, we feel like we're doing that with the practice facility. You know, hopefully our fans are going to feel the same way coming to the arena this season. But, you know, especially starting in 18, I think it's going to be a unique and special place, and a place where our fans love coming to watch a game and our players love playing.
Deshaun Tate, CBS Atlanta, 92.9 The Game. Considering the recent changes within the roster as of late, what is your initial response to those who, I guess, may feel like they have low expectations for the Atlanta Hawks this season?
Yeah, you know, for the most part, luckily, most of us, I think, live in our own little world, and teams tend to just kind of bunker in, and we know what's happening on our practice court. We know what's happening in our film sessions and in our games, and you know, our expectations of ourselves, I think, are significantly more important than, you know, what people on the outside expect of us. And it's kind of wasted time to think about or worry about, you know, what anybody else is expecting of us. So, you know, I think a lot of the things that, you know, we've been doing, probably a lot of us since we started playing basketball and coaching basketball, is, you know, how are we coming to work every day? What are we doing in the gym? How are we preparing? You know, that's where our expectations are. And if you're doing those things, you know, more often than not, you can feel good about what's happening on the court. And, you know, it just continues to be our focus is what are we doing every day? How are we getting better every day? And, you know, that's where our focus and our expectations are.
Players on Basketball Insiders. According to NBA.com, last season, Dwight Howard and Dennis Schroder ran fewer than 100 pick and rolls together. So I've got kind of a three-part question. Did you run the pick and roll as much as you wanted to last season? How much do you anticipate running it this season and how making it an emphasis? And can you give your analysis of Dennis as a pick and roll ball handler?
It's a lot for me. Yeah, so I won't bore you guys, okay. I mean, I think you know, as far as the number of pick and rolls we ran last year, you know, I think going into the season there was maybe a thought or an emphasis on maybe playing a little more inside out. But I wouldn't say a plan or a significant shift or a significant change. So I would guess and feel like we played a ton of pick and roll last year and about where we wanted to be. You know, who was in them and the numbers. You know, it's the way we play. It's a lot of it's random. A lot of it's through reads and through just opportunities. And the more pace and the more aggressive you are, and the more with which you move, the more you may be involved in pick and rolls or different things. So, you know, I know the third one was Dennis as a ball handler. What was the second part?
Just how much you anticipated
Doing
emphasizing
this year? Yeah, so, you know, similar to last year where I would say there was maybe a slight, you know, shift or emphasis or adjustment to maybe trying to play inside out more. This year I would say there's probably going to be, you know, slight shift towards, you know, even greater space, even greater pace, and even more pick and rolls. But not losing, I think, the movement we have away from the ball and the cutting and screening and opportunities for everybody to participate in the offense, much like you've seen, you know, for the last 4 years. But you know, maybe some shift towards more. I would say some shift towards even greater pace, playing even faster. And then lastly, just Dennis as a pick and roll, you know, ball handler. You know, I think with his speed and how he puts pressure on the rim and the way he can attack and get defenses to collapse, you know, is a big part of our offense. It's a big part of our league. You know, his speed is just very unique and special. And so how do we create, you know, even more environments, even more opportunities for him to use his speed, you know, not just in pick and rolls, but, you know, maybe in other situations and other, you know, schemes and environments. But his speed and his ability to get to the paint and pick and roll is unique, and that opens up a lot for his teammates and for himself.
Coach Kevin Taylor, Taylor Made Sports. Just talk about Torian and DeAndre's development going into year 2.
Yeah, you know, I think it was great for, you know, the coaches and for his teammates, and I'm sure Torian to see, you know, him kind of reap the benefits of all the work he put in for the first, you know, 60 to 70 to 75% of the season. And, you know, it's not easy when you're not playing. It's not easy when, you know, I think we're very aggressive and very, you know, forward-thinking in how we use the G League, and both of those guys, you know, spent time in the G League. We think that's invaluable for their growth and development. And to see Torian, you know, emerge and, you know, start for, I don't know, whatever it was, the last 15, 20 games and a playoff series, and for him to play really efficiently and for him to play, you know, for a rookie, you know, he was a great contributor for us. So I think going into the second season for Torian, we just want to see that carry over. You know, I think there's steps to a player's development. It's a process, and if you start skipping those steps, sometimes it can lead to a regression. So, you know, I think Torian wants to be great. Torian really wants to, you know, have a big impact on the game on both ends of the court. And, you know, in some ways, we're probably just going to have to keep, you know, reminding him and reminding ourselves that it's a process and it's going to take, you know, incremental improvement, incremental steps. But I think because of what he went through, he understands that and appreciates that. DeAndre, you know, I think had, you know, great moments last year, great flashes. You know, remember him, you know, guarding, you know, Harden in Houston in the fourth quarter and different games having big impact. And then I think he's had a great summer. He's put a lot of time in working in the gym. You know, very good in summer league. So I think both of those guys do a lot of things that we value. You know, the biggest thing, I think they can impact the game on both sides of the ball. And we're excited about watching them grow and take those steps forward.